This video was sponsored by CuriosityStream in partnership with my streaming service Nebula. Hey, happy Friday! This week we'll talk about the tricky consumer psychology behind Apple's incredibly expensive new headphones. We'll talk about a huge win for privacy on iOS, and we'll also talk about the FTC suing Facebook to spin off Instagram and WhatsApp. As always, we also have 20 brand new questions in our weekly tech knowledge quiz that's gaming themed this week to celebrate the momentous launch of Cyberpunk. Links are in the description, and welcome to the Friday checkout. Okay, my pick of the week is going to be the new $550 headphones from Apple called the Airpods Max. And I've seen so many bad takes about them online already that I wanted to talk about the headphones, the price, and also the consumer psychology behind it all. So the first hands-on videos are out, I've watched pretty much all of them, and the headphones themselves seem to be exactly what you'd expect them to be. The design and the materials are fancy, the sound quality and noise cancellation seem to be on par or maybe a little bit better than the competition from Sony and Bose. They integrate really well into the Apple ecosystem, but in exchange they are heavier, have a little less battery life, don't fold up, and yes, they are headphones without a headphone jack. In other words, they're fine. I think people who are really into the Apple ecosystem will probably like them as headphones. But of course, the thing that really got people excited and talking about is the price. Their closest competitor on Amazon right now costs literally half as much as this pair does, and that understandably makes people wonder if Apple has gone a little mad maybe. And I think they haven't. I think this is actually a calculated bet. At $550, these headphones are of course expensive compared to competitors, but they still are at a price where tens of millions of customers who routinely spend $1,000+ on a phone or on a laptop can technically definitely afford them. The question of course is Apple can make them feel like these are worth that price tag. And sure, that has to start with audio quality and noise cancelling being at least as good as the competition. But if you think about it, the important thing here is that wearables, whether we techies like it or not, are not just tech, they're also fashion. They act sort of like jewelry or handbags. They are on our bodies, they're seen by all the people around us at all times, and yes, given the right conditions, they will totally act as status symbols as well. Of course, to become effective status symbols, they have to be more expensive than the rest, which these are, and people around you have to be able to clearly recognize them as such, which is why luxury brands will go to ridiculous lengths to plaster their logos all over their goods, and probably why Apple went to such ridiculous lengths to completely over-engineer and especially over-design these. The people around you have to see that you're wearing them, and they have to instantly recognize that, oh, those are the expensive headphones from Apple. The scientific term for these types of products is Veblen goods. I've linked to this Wikipedia article below if you want to read up on it. But this is a class of product that people basically prefer over competitors in a large part because they are more expensive, not despite it. From the first iPods that came with unique white cables to the AirPods that were, well, let's just say very recognizable, Apple has always understood that the thing that you're wearing on your head all day is not just a tool for playing music, but a way to constantly remind people around you that, hey, I am an Apple user. And these headphones are no different. Okay, my one of the week will also be about Apple, and specifically about them finally announcing to start rolling out their new anti-tracking rules across iOS apps early next year, including kicking apps that don't comply off the App Store. As announced earlier this year, apps will have to specifically ask users if they want to collect the so-called IDFA, or Identification for Advertisers, a unique device-specific code that is used by advertisers to connect your activities on your phone across different apps. So say you use your local news app, they get your IDFA, then you log into Facebook, they get your IDFA, and now the two companies can connect your activities in both. This is very roughly equivalent to like tracking cookies on web browsers, for example, and it's pretty insane, honestly, that this was possible for advertisers to get access to without any sort of explicit warning. But at least starting on iOS, the app makers will now have to throw you a system prompt if they want to get access. This prompt will then explicitly have to say that the app would like permission to track you across apps and websites owned by other companies, which you can just deny. This is much better than cookie banners on websites because it is a standardized, explicit opt-in that Apple won't let the app makers bastardize themselves like they have done on websites. And this is one of the few examples where I think it is pretty clear that Apple's tight control over the ecosystem is quite the benefit. An app maker will still be able to track everything you do inside their own app and will be able to show you ads there, but advertisers like Facebook have already said that cross-app tracking will basically become useless to the point where they expect to retire their tracking platform altogether. Of course, there's also a cynical way to look at this whole thing, which is to say that Apple, of course, doesn't need to collect this ID to track you across their apps and their operating system. And if app makers will be forced to switch from ad-based models to something like in-app payments or subscription models on iOS, Apple will be able to take a 30% cut of most of that. So there's that. But I think overall, it is still a huge win. And my third story of the week will be even more bad news for Facebook, which of course is my absolute favorite kind of news. I'm talking about the United States FTC and 48 state attorneys general filing an antitrust lawsuit against Facebook and specifically asking for Instagram and WhatsApp to be split back up into separate companies again. And right off the bat, I'm just a little speechless about this. Obviously, this is a lawsuit, so who knows what will happen, whether anything actually gets passed or not, it doesn't matter. But the US government hasn't made antitrust moves like this in a very, very long time. This is new. Now, the lawsuit specifically alleges that Facebook engaged in year-long efforts to maintain its monopoly through anti-competitive acquisitions and actions that target nascent rivals. So that'll be stuff like buying Instagram and WhatsApp before they could blow up, which Mark specifically said in internal emails was meant to be anti-competitive, but also stuff like blocking API access to competitors like Vine once that got bought by Twitter. And I'm not quite sure how strong the legal case here is. I mean, just as an example, the FTC specifically approved both the acquisition of Instagram and the acquisition of WhatsApp when they happened. So there's that as a start. But Facebook getting broken up into multiple companies, that's an interesting proposition. Obviously, the world could use more major ad networks, but it could also use more competing platforms. Because when there's actual competition, the platforms can't really afford to treat us, the users, like crap. In fact, that is exactly why I and a bunch of your favorite educational YouTubers have created our own video streaming platform called Nebula, to make a better platform that treats both the viewers and the creators better. For you, the viewer, that means no ads, no obnoxious tracking, just the ability to support us directly and get access to our entire catalog of hundreds of the smartest educational YouTubers out there, including early access to all of my TechAltar videos, as well as a bunch of fantastic Nebula originals, like Ghost Town from real-life lores, taking you to abandoned cities, or Story Mode from Lessons of the Screenplay, talking with the lead quest designers of CD Projekt Red to analyze the best quests in the Witcher games. And for us, the creators, it means not having to worry about demonetization, ridiculous content ID claims, or pleasing the mysterious algorithm gods. Best of all, access to Nebula comes for free with a subscription to my sponsor, CuriosityStream, which itself is 26% off right now. So you get both services for just over $1 a month. CuriosityStream is of course the premier place on the internet for high-quality professional documentaries from the founder of the Discovery Channel, and they have a huge library of science, nature, and history content to binge while you are stuck at home. I have recently finished Cyber War on CuriosityStream, which is a documentary on hackers and governments doing nasty things, because apparently that's just the world we're living in from now on. And there's lots of other great content here from hosts like David Attenborough, Jane Goodall, Stephen Hawking, and more. So check them out at the link in the description, and I'll see you next week.